Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
What is going on, Canes fam? I am Matty Ice. He is Caniacs. He is Chris, and he is Mr. Roman Kane. Roman, how are you doing tonight? We are so excited to have you.
Absolutely. Oh, you know what? That intro is better than any intro I've ever been involved with. That is solid. I mean, look at it. We had baseball and football and basketball. I think collectively, as the Orange Bowl boys, I don't think we know one single basketball player. That's sad. But you guys do. You guys are definitely more dialed in than us. We're more show than go. But I'm glad to be here, boys. I love it. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for letting me be a part of the Open. This is awesome.
Hell yeah. This is great. I'm happy.
I know. I'm super excited. I mean, we weren't even planning on having you for the Open, but you graciously gave us your time, and we love it. We're excited, man. I don't even know where to go from here. I'm ready, though. I'll tell you that.
there we go. Oh, look, Brad's saying Kane's calling my guy Roman. Brad, you're my guy. Stop calling me your guy. You're my guy, bro. You're everybody's guy.
There you go.
Brad's strong, all-star Kane's Twitterverse. Good guy too. You know,
Brad,
it was funny.
strong.
We were up in Orlando, and we were doing our intro show. We went there, kind of that first week zero kind of thing. Here comes Brad. And like just the bravado, the swag. And he's like, I'm going to be doing this one day. Like, and this was like a couple of years ago. And man, did he ever do it. So, proud that he's part of the Canes fandom, Canes family. So let's go.
Yeah, he puts in work, man. If there's one thing to be said.
Coach in the house.
There we go. We got people on the bottom. There we go.
Welcome.
So boys, kind of some big news today. The game time for Alabama came out. It's going to be a daytime game. What are your guys' feelings about this one? It's going to be on ABC. Thoughts, Chris? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I like that it's right after high noon. You know, we'll give Clemson and Georgia the night game, and I think I was looking up the spread. It's like 16.5 right now. As Alabama's favored by 16.5. So we get our game time today, right? And everybody's talking about Alabama now that the game time came out. So I'm pumped. It kind of feels like we're getting closer and closer to that day. What do you think, bro?
I think they just needed to keep up with Nick Saban's bedtime. It's 7:30. So, Murder, She Wrote comes on at 7:45. So they have to, 16.5. That's an interesting line. I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that. If we can keep it underneath that. I mean, you don't want sentimental wins, but come on, It's Alabama. They are the pinnacle. They are the greatest dynasty that we've ever seen. And I've seen the dynasty of the 80s of the University of Miami Hurricanes, but they're on another level. And they don't. And we coined the phrase, we don't just recruit, we reload. And that's Alabama. They just reload, and boy, do they ever. So, 3:30 game. That's interesting. Not the 7:30 time slot, but like I said, Nick Saban's got to go to bed. So there you go.
I like the 3:30 game. It's not too late. It's not too early. Hopefully the guys will be up for it, because a lot of the time they're having these night games, and then they come out starting slow and everything. So I like it. I like the 3:30 game. And it's still a prime time slot too, so there'll be a lot of eyes on it.
I knew you'd like that one, Caniacs. You can still hit up Hometown Buffet after the game for that early bird.
Get my early bird special, baby, and go to bed.
Piccadilly, here we come.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if you guys saw earlier today on my Instagram, 5x_national_champs. I put some Alabama memes up on my stories.
Oh, I saw that.
people started sharing them and stuff. I got some pretty good ones if you guys want to check it out. And actually, there's a lot of people that follow the page and message me, but one of them is the wife of former Miami D-line coach Greg Mark. He was like 95 to 2005 or 96 to 2005. And she hit me up after, if you look at the Forrest Gump one that I put on there, she hit me up today and said, what do you call a 300-pound Alabama fan? What do we got, guys? Anorexic.
That's true. They are a portly fan bunch. They definitely are. There's nothing more to do in Alabama than eat and watch Alabama football.
That's about it. That's it.
Oh man, that's funny. So boys, Sunday we got some news that 12 of the 14 signees from the recent class were on campus. Guys like Leonard Taylor, James Williams, Romello Brinson, Brashard Smith, Lawrence Seymour. You know, what are you guys' thoughts? Are you excited for this? Excited to see what the future is going to bring, or what? We'll start with Chris.
Yeah, man. I mean, you saw 2 days ago, the number one safety in the country consensus, the number one DT in the country coming on campus. And these are program changing guys, right? These are dudes that when you add them to your program and you stack them upon the classes that we've had in recent years, these are two guys that could anchor the defense for years to come. And, you throw them in there with Avante and stuff like that, James Williams in the secondary. These are the types of players that we need. And Big Baby Seymour, when Big Lawrence Seymour gets his chance to get in that rotation on the O-line, that dude's going to move some bodies. So I'm extremely excited about the new crop that rolled in on Sunday. What about you, Ro?
I think the same. You brought in the number one player in Florida, and you mentioned it right there, Chris. You got the number one safety in the country and the number one DT in the country. I mean, that speaking of Alabama, usually those guys, prima noctra, they go to Alabama. That's their cut, right? That's the tithe you pay to like Tony Soprano in the Mafia, or you get whacked and sleep with the fishes. Right. Like that's literally what you have to do. But you ended up managing to keep those guys. And what I like about that too, having a number one safety in the country too, because you got to remember, Manny Diaz loves that odd man front, loves putting 3-man and third down in blitz packages. So you can look in a situation, and I would literally put 3 linemen and forget the linebackers. Just forget them. Forget them. Don't even put them on there. Put 8 cornerbacks and safeties out there. and that's a guy that you can come in, bring that hybrid, bring the pressure. You can bring Amari down in the box. You got Avante that you could keep out there. You got Bubba you could keep out there. You have options now, because Manny Diaz's trick on this one is going to be able to put those athletes on the field in premier spots. Number one D tackle in the country. I mean, obviously he's going to be rotational player day one. I don't know if he's going to go ahead and secure the starting spot, but he's going to have some reps. He's going to have some burn. And if he could go ahead and emerge, he could emerge as a 2 rotational guy that goes ahead and pops that first spot. So, and I like your pick on Big Baby Seymour. Yes, he's a big people mover as well. So, and that O-line's depth has improved over the years. I remember about 2-3 years ago. I mean, that was anorexic, right? That not only an Alabama fan that's 300 pounds, offensive line was anorexic, including our left tackle, who is now no longer anorexic and is going to probably be a first-round pick. And props to Zion Nelson on that one.
Absolutely. That's amazing from where he went from where he was to where he is now, and what he's projected to be. I mean, he went through the fire and he improved, and it just goes to show you sometimes you just got to trust the process, as Mike Harley said the last time he was on the show.
That is very true, because I do that film review, and it's like the film finds you. I don't really have to try that hard. It's gonna find you. It just has a mind of its own. And they're like, hey, well, Ro, why do you pick the clips that you pick? I'm like that clip. I'm like that saying in Batman that with the Joker. I just chase tires. I don't know what to do when I get there. I just watch a clip. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting, and I talk on it. I don't really have rhyme or reason. But Zion Nelson that year, I mean, I found him time and time again. Young man got burned. If there is any kind of story for any young athlete about perseverance, if that kid goes ahead and pops and goes in the first round, to go from where he was, I mean, he gave up more sacks than anybody in the country, to go and become a first rounder. Oh my goodness, what a story about perseverance and literally not letting the play before you affect the next play. I mean, because that's amazing if he goes ahead and pulls that off.
Oh, absolutely. I
got to say, too, Kaniacs, you kind of brought this up, and it was something I wanted to talk about. You mentioned the interview we did with Mike Harley last week, something that I thought was super interesting. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, Ro, but he had talked about the week of discretion, the discretionary week with De'Aaron King. De'Aaron King was doing some sort of exercise. He was doing it wrong, and Mike Harley kind of gave him some words of encouragement, but it kind of didn't seem like that to De'Aaron, and so they almost got into like a fight. De'Eric had said something along the lines of you weren't here like for discretionary week or something along those lines. And they kind of got into it. So what were the things that you guys took away from that interview, Chris and Caniacs?
I think for me, and it was what I said in the close last week, was, Mike Harley came off as a dude that was extremely self-aware, humble, selfless, a guy that put other people before himself. And he really came off as a senior leader. And that's what he looked like to me after hearing how he talks about bringing up the young guys and bringing everybody else along with him, the role model that he wants to be on the team, and kind of how he sets the tone for things. And I think Mike Harley's poised for a big year. He's a few reps away from some big numbers when it comes to touchdown and overall receiving yards. And I don't know. I was highly impressed. Our numbers on the show show that from our interview with Mike, and I'm rooting for him just like everybody else is.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like we said that day. I mean, that was even Mike said it was a program changing moment, because he even said that, when he thought about it for a second, dude's right. Dude's absolutely right. It was just that the way that they came at each other could have been a little different. But I mean, you see what that can do to the program. I mean, and where we're going to now. I mean, and he even said that the chemistry between those two is they're almost inseparable. So I just hope that keeps going on the field, and maybe they can pass it off to some other guys that have a little problem dropping the ball.
Yeah.
No numbers.
I'm not saying anything in particular, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. We know.
Yeah, you guys are mentioning Mike Harley. Great interview, by the way. And here you go. Let me just pop this glasses off. There you go. That is a St. Thomas Aquinas. Hey, props to my best friend Chris, who gave me a lot more swag. They lost. They are now out of the regional finals, so the boys couldn't bring it home this year. But I'm representing Mike Harley to the U, coming from St. Thomas Aquinas. Listen, they're alphas. They're Mike Harley's an alpha. Derek King, he's quiet, mind you, but the guy's an alpha. I mean, he commands the cut. He's a commanding, quiet presence, right? He lets his skill set work for him. He's like a sixth-year guy at this point, and no, he's not going to go ahead and take kindly to what he perceives as kind of like criticism, right? So program chaining, but that stuff happens all the time in sports, and you let bygones be bygones. I mean, if the locker room was totally free of fights, that's not the locker room I want to be a part of, because you're going to have some guys that are so hungry to win, that they get on guys that maybe don't have the same mindset. And I'm fine with it. Fight on.
There you go.
Mortal Kombat just came out. As long as you don't kill each other, like finish them. Exactly. No, don't do that.
No injuries.
No injuries. Bubba Bolden gets hurt celebrating against Florida State. None of that crap. But as far as if they need to get after it sometimes. But I mean, they tell you, like, summer camp doesn't necessarily start until a fist fight happens on the field, the practice field. Yeah. I mean, they'll tell you that. So just don't punch Derek King in the face.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And hurt your hand. That's the reason.
Yeah, you got to throw it with your left, Derek. If you watch and if you get anything from Bull Durham, it's the fact that Kevin Costner teaches Meat to throw with his left hand, so you don't throw with your throwing hand. You don't want to hurt your hand, Derek King. Punch Mike Harley with the left. That's it.
That's awesome.
Hey, Ro, so I know we got some questions and some things that we want to talk about with you, but we kind of wanted to start it off with a little game here. If you would be so kind as to participate.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, man. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right, Ro, the name of the game is All Hype Sounds Right. Basically, you're going to tell us if something is all hype or if it sounds right, sounds legit to you. We got a mix of things, some Canes related, some not. So first one that I was excited to tell you about, the lightsabers back here. I told you we were talking about it off camera. Mm-hmm. So I know you're a big Star Wars guy.
Maybe.
So what do you mean maybe? Come on, man. Casual fan.
I might host a Star Wars channel in the OBB chat. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, right, maybe.
Yeah.
So All Hype Sounds Right. Rebels is a superior show to the Clone Wars series.
Ooh, that is a push, but I have to answer All Hyper Sounds Right. I'm gonna say All Hype. simply based on the fact that the last season of the Clone Wars, the last 4 episodes, and the intro into the Bad Batch of that last episode kind of put it over the edge for me. Up until season 7 of the Clone Wars, I would say Rebels was the superior show.
Okay. I can live with that. All right. Next one. This is Canes related. Zach McLeod in his Scott Patchin year will start at defensive end against Alabama. All hype sounds right.
I think that's going to be. I think it's going to sound right, but it should be all hype. It's going to sound right because Manny Diaz doesn't learn. And you brought up Scott Patchin, and that's why he didn't learn, because it took him about 6 starts to realize that Greg Tober, shouldn't have worked in Greg Tober. He should have started Gregory Russo way before that. So I'm going to say it sounds right, but it should be all hype.
Okay. Next one. This is probably my favorite. I probably should have saved it for last. Blake James will make another appearance on the OBB podcast.
That is all hype.
Oh, damn it.
That is all hype. He will never grace us again with his presence. It might have been the Fire All Blakes hashtag that Toast decided to, and that was Toast, by the way, decided to go ahead and just fly out on the handle. But he came on the show, so yeah, whatever. All hype.
Actually, that kind of fell into my next one. So your buddy Toast is the biggest pessimist on Kane's Twitter. All hype sounds right.
No, there's some other guys that are probably, Better Duck. He's probably a little bit more.
Okay. Well, you can't really consider him. Okay?
Yeah, he's an anomaly.
That's different.
I love Duck. No, there's some more negative guys that I've run into. So I'm gonna say he's the most negative of the OBB by far. That sounds right. But in terms of Kane's Twitterverse, if you scour enough as much as we do, you know that's all hype.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Derek King will end the season with more rushing yards than Mark Pope will have receiving yards.
Oh God,
that sounds right.
That sounds right.
Yeah, because you can't drop rushing yards.
Oh God.
Yeah, there you go. I need the drums on that one. It's just it sounds right simply for the fact that I just think you have some dogs behind them. Some of these younger guys are going to go ahead and challenge for reps, and I think the leash is short at that wide. It has to be, because there's just too much damn talent behind him that you're going to sit there and wallow, through 6, 7, 8, 9 games. I just don't think he's going to have the opportunity to go ahead and do that. So I think Derek King is going to have more yards.
Okay, next one.
I think that was a strong question. Good job. That was sounds right on the question. I'm going to give it a sound right just for the question alone.
Okay. Dude, and then Ro hit you with the line about Pope, dude. That's like a Neosporin and hydrogen peroxide line, man. That was a nasty burn.
Oh man.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, Ro, we got a couple more. Rhett Lashley will still be on staff at the start of the 2022 season.
Ooh.
I think that is he's going to still be on staff for the University of Miami. I think that's going to be all hype. I think he goes after this year.
Okay.
I think he goes. Okay. Listen, I think they're going to improve. If they improve, right? You got to remember what he did at SMU. He took him about the same thing. He took him about a 35-point per game offense, and then he went over that precipice, that magical precipice of 40 points a game in his second year. So if he turns around at Miami, does that 40 points per game, they're going to have a successful season. And offense sells these days, and everybody's looking. You get failed. When you're in a reality that you get Kingsbury, right? He got fired from Texas Tech, and Arizona hires him in the NFL. Yeah. Why? Because he's a bright offensive mind. So if you're going to have a successful offensive mind in Rhett Lashley, that guy's going to go ahead and find himself a job. So we know it's going to happen. It is eventually, and hopefully we pass it on to somebody maybe in house. Maybe Likens can go ahead and take the mantle. Maybe somebody else, but somebody along those lines. But I'm happy. I'm happy because Miami finally learned what style of offense it should have probably gravitated to now for the last 10 years. So as long as we kind of stick in that realm, I think Miami could be successful.
Okay, last one, and I think Caniacs actually has a special one for you as well.
So I need to know, after listening to your last
I have one more. Last one.
Okay,
sorry. Roman Kane is the most lovable OBB member. All hype sounds right.
That is sounds right to me. That sounds right to me. I think I got to be the one that's always laughing the most, right? I mean, that's
so. Absolutely.
I'm always laughing.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you just said Toast was the most pessimistic guy on Twitter, so it can't be him. And come on, Scoop. I mean, this guy just compared himself to Aaron Rodgers being a complete like he said it himself. He said the reason because we're both snarky, and I just want to see how snarky we can be. So I mean, by default, it's not that I'm being egotistical here whatsoever. I'm just saying the competition that you're putting me up against is real easy to be the most happy-go-lucky of the OBB.
Yeah,
so by default, I'm getting it.
Well, I mean, we could say IP Daily too, but
IP Daily is a little snarky too. He's snarky too.
I love that guy. All right, so Ro, after listening to your bench, I have a question.
Talk to me, Goose.
Who was the bigger juicer, Barry Bonds or you?
Wow. That ball went right up into my bed. Listen, this is an easy question to answer.
Jim Rome.
Damn, dude. I'm gonna Chris Everett his ass. I'm gonna literally come up, call me Chrissy again. Call me Chrissy again. You remember that, right? You called him Chrissy again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I don't hide from this. I don't hide from this. But I'm going to say Barry Bonds only because of longevity purpose here. That guy managed to hit over like 760 bombs, right? And you could see that he did in longevity. I did it for 2 seasons. That's all I did it. So I didn't do it for much. I gained about 45 pounds. But he was definitely the bigger juicer on longevity. Yes.
Kaniacs wanted me to ask that.
Listen, that wasn't even a question where I got to respond like if that was true or like, you know what I'm saying? He just came out and asked it. I feel
well, you said it on the bench podcast.
I don't hide from that, Poppy. I know
you.
No,
I didn't think you would.
No, it's cool. I like it. No, and I said it on the bench podcast too. I was like, I came in one year, I was 210. The next year I come back, I was 255. And the development coach immediately goes to my ass and smacks it and tells me, "Good job." You don't think I jumped? I was like, "Oh, come on, coach. That's where the needles go." You know what I'm saying? But it was an error. It was a bad thing. I regret it because I hang around that weight now, and I wish I didn't. So, to all of your kids out there, don't do what I did. That's the message.
Kaniacs wanted me to ask that question. And I was like, no, you're gonna.
Yeah, Maddie, look at how bad Maddie's punting on it. Maddie's like, don't be mad at me. No, it's fine. It's fine, man. If you're not amongst friends and you can't bust balls, who can you bust balls with?
Exactly.
I'm totally fine with it.
Exactly.
Good question.
Oh man. Hey man, so we wanted to
move on to the good stuff.
Yeah, we wanted to get into some Canes talk. And I know I wanted to kind of shift it over, hand it off to Chris. Hopefully he doesn't drop it, and he has a few Canes questions that we wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, Rose. So now that we got all hype, out of the way in our fun little game, we'll get down to that bone on the ribeye here. We'll start chewing away on some Canes talk. So the first question I got for you, Ro, is talk to us about what it meant to have De'Aaron King coming back, in your opinion, returning under center to lead the team in this season. And, we got the second most starters coming back in college football with 19. What did that officially mean to the team when he said he was going to run it back?
I mean, you get QB1 back. I mean, he had a phenomenal season. It was probably the best season that we've seen amongst from a quarterback in a very, very, very long time. Sure. He's just got a calming presence. What he did to that offense, I think it's safe to say there was a couple games where the offense maybe, coming to mind. Let's see, what was it? Was it Duke or one of the games where it was just like the offense might have came out like a little flat, and then next thing you know, it's firing all cylinders. The offense wasn't the problem last year, and De'Aaron King was a very, very, very big reason. So as soon as he announced it, and I know we love the fancy new toys and Jake Garcia talk and Tyler Van Dyke, and I'm like, listen, I love them too, and that's going to be the quarterback battle of the future. But let's not debate here. This is De'Aaron King's team. There's some talk. There's people picked him, some pundits, that he's going to be the Heisman winner this year. I think he's going to be available for summer. That's all intents and purposes. That's what the staff is saying. I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to have a good game against Alabama. It's everything. I mean, it's everything. You don't have the opportunity, and Miami hasn't had really the opportunity to have somebody of his caliber to come back for a senior season, right? A season plus, to come in and be that calming force. And that's what I love about him, his game in particular. He is not rattled.
Never.
Right?
Never.
You don't see that panic look on his face. He's not going to be that quarterback that's going to go ahead and, on that final drive on Dokes, tell the Doak fans to come and then silence the Miami fans at the same time. Like, I love you, Malik, but he's not going to be that guy. And you got to appreciate their values for who they are, because every quarterback can be different, especially their maturity rate, their mentality. Sure. But I love the fact, especially for this team, that he's a calming force back there. It is just so nice. No matter what the situation is, you look at number one, and that guy is just dialed in. He's ready to go. So I think it means everything that guy's coming back. He's your QB1 for a reason.
Absolutely. And that'll lead me into my second question, Ro, and that would be, how do you see De'Aaron as an NFL prospect? And I guess kind of what I mean by that is, what things do you think he could maybe improve upon based on what we saw last year to really elevate him as an NFL QB going into the next draft?
I think the knock, it's tough. Chris, this is what's tough about it, especially in these modern day systems. And you just kind of saw Justin Field go through it. They're like, oh, he's a one-read guy. But in these RPO systems, when you see these RPOs, there's so much behind it before you even get into figure out where the right guy is. That one read took like so much processing of information. But there's a catch and there's a cost. The cost is after the snap, when things are moving behind him, I that's where he's going to need to improve, because the system and what Brett Lashley does, making it so simple for his QBs, is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it can operate in college. It's a curse because now when they're running like cloud nines and combo coverages and zone blitzes and zone dogs, and this guy's coming over here and this guy's baiting you on the non, like when that starts going and that starts spinning and they're doing all these post snap coverage changes, I don't think De'Aaron King necessarily thrives in that environment. And he's not going to be able to have that opportunity at Miami. So you're going to maybe see it against Alabama. They can go ahead and get really tricky. So that's the thing, because that's what the scouts are saying. It's just like, if you could keep him in the pocket and you can make him, pass his first read, his efficacy is going to drop. And I would agree with that.
All right.
And based off Lashley.
For sure. Okay, well, let's swing into a question here on the 2022 QB room. So I know you break down a lot of film. I love the YouTube channel, watching your stuff with the different things you do on there. And so what I wanted to know, what are 3 things that you like about TVD and 3 things you like about Jake Garcia? Maybe the things that pop out to you from watching film.
TVD, I like his athleticism. I think that's a sneaky trait and quality about him. I like his arm adaptability. His baseball background shows he can go ahead and throw from ultimate platforms. And I like his ability to go ahead and keep the team on schedule, and you saw that in spring. Yep. So those are the 3 things that I really like about TVD's game. About Jake Garcia's game, I like the way that I love the way that he works the pocket. I like the way that he does that at a very astute and high level for being a freshman, the way he can go ahead and find a pocket. I love his arm talent. He is a very, very exquisite arm talent. And just the glimpses of it, I'm going to say right now, I love the kid's moxie. He looks like he has a little bit of moxie to him. And I think as he gets a little bit more comfortable with his guys, he said it on the telecast. He's like, he's able to assimilate really quick. I mean, he had to be on 4 high school teams in 4 years. So, for him to come in there and, he still commands presence, that takes a little bit of moxie. So I appreciate those 3 things on him.
Hell yeah. What about when it comes to vision and kind of seeing the entire field and progressing through your reads? Who do you kind of give the edge to, based off of what you saw in the high school tape?
Oh, on the high school tape, man, that is a tough question. I mean, it's going to go in the spring. I mean, just a little edge. And listen, I'm team TVD. I think you guys know that. I like Jake Garcia. I like both of them. I'm going to appreciate the battle that they have. I mean, I was impressed with something with Jake Garcia. There was that one play. It was a smash concept. It was like to the field. He came off his read, found somebody. It was like his tertiary read. So he's able to do it. I think Tyler can do that too. That's going to be like a wash for me, and I'm just going to have to keep watching more film, because in high school, these guys are ripping, dipping, and ripping, man. They're hitting a lot of open reads. And a lot of times these are highlight films and stuff like that. So without seeing some of the other ancillary, tapes that I'm going to get to see, but moving forward, I'm going to say wash right now. But I was impressed with Jake Garcia and some of the things I saw with him in spring game as far as coming off his first and second read.
Okay. And then last question regarding the 2022 battle, based on like arm strength, accuracy, reading it perfectly, who do you think delivers the better ball? I mean, I know we got 12 months, year and a half to talk about this, but who do you think delivers the better ball of the two?
They were both coming out of spring with like 70% clips. Once again, because that's just the Rhett Lashley effect. He makes it really, really easy for his QBs. Jake delivers a really, really good ball. He does. Tyler's a good ball too. Tyler, when I watched Tyler throw this last time too, he seemed to be a little bit more 3/4 delivery than when I saw him in high school. So he might be playing with some things there. I rewatched and find the tape, but the ball's getting there. I mean, I remember that Xavier Restrepo ball that he threw that corner touchdown. That was just such. That was a dime from TVD. I call him Tyler Van Dime on that throw. But then you got Jake throwing the ball downfield and putting the ball in the breadbasket. I mean, that is going to be one next year. That is going to be the I don't remember boys. No. I don't remember a battle this intense that's coming up. I mean, it is. I was always Team TVD, and I'm still Team TVD. But man, I'm like you're like okay, coming off the bus, Jake Garcia is not taking a backseat past anybody.
When was the last time that sorry to interrupt, when was the last time we ever had a discussion of how we're already excited for next year's quarterback class? And we ain't even had this, football year, and we ain't even had this football year yet.
What, Jake Heap and Spencer Whipple wasn't riveting and thrilling? I mean, you got to probably go back to like Jacory and Robert Marv. I mean, that was like the Florida Gator play. Man, that's a long time ago. And then obviously Jacory won that job, and Robert went out to Purdue. But yeah, it's been a while, but that's what Miami's got to do. That's what Miami's got to do. That's the most important position on the field. I don't care what anybody tells you. And it all starts there. And all these teams that are winning, that are getting into the playoffs, they usually have a Heisman quarterback, an NFL, a number one draft. Listen, Florida State, I hate them. But when they won their national championship, they had a number one pick in Jameis Winston. You can say whatever you want about the guy, but he was the number one overall pick in the NFL. If you could go ahead and get the number one overall pick in the NFL, I promise you Miami's going to get in the playoffs.
He was good in college.
Yes, he was.
Ro, so you kind of answered the next question I was going to ask you. Great guess, man. Already answering them before I even ask them.
Yeah, I'm a Jedi, bro. I'm a Jedi. I got
apparently.
Yeah, you should know that, Matt. Come on.
I already know the question.
So, what I was going to ask you about was you posted something on Twitter about a week ago, and it was the draft pick rankings the last 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. In the ACC. And Miami was either number 1 or 2 in every single position category.
Except for one. And what was that category? QB. It was like 6th. And that's the issue. I think a lot of this happens to be in our backyard. We're really, really, really good to identify our talent down here in the DBs, linebackers, defensive end, wide receivers, because we got so much of it. This is like speed central down here in South Florida. We're really lacking in the quarterback play. Like we just don't get it down here. You got your anomaly, you got your Action Jackson, right? He's from Boynton Beach, but for the most part, year in and year out, these guys are coming from Georgia. Georgia is just doing a phenomenal job right now. They're the hot spot for, until Florida kind of gets up that. So now we have to go outside to get these QBs. A lot of times we're in that position. Like TVD comes from Connecticut. Where does Jake Garcia even come from? I don't even know. Like we can't even classify.
California / Georgia.
Like he's nomadic.
We claim him as a Californian.
Yeah, he's a Cali kid.
Yeah, he's a Cali kid. Okay, great, but he's nomadic. But that's the point. Our greatest quarterbacks always are coming from out because we just don't create that crop down here. So until we do, and we got to do a better job of identifying these kids elsewhere and really building that relationship with them, because quarterbacks are usually those guys that pop early and stick. It's not they're not really habitually the people that bounce around. So that's my thing, because Miami definitely needs to prove there, because in this, era of where Miami hasn't been what it was in the past, it's been highlighted now by the fact that we've had kind of like subpar quarterback play.
Yeah, I can confirm too that talking about Jake Garcia, he definitely is a California kid. He recently came back to California, and the first place he hit up was In-N-Out. I saw it on my Twitter. So
definitely,
just
yeah, definitely Cali kid. Man, if you're hitting In-N-Out, all right, cool,
right away.
He's joining Ken and Brad, dude. He's a Cali kid, man. He's gonna be the next great one to come out.
He's trying to make movies out there, so that's a better reason to be in Cali.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Well, Ro, so now that we've seen 1 year of Rhett Lashley, kind of give me your expectations of year 2 in the Rhett Lashley offense.
You got to get over 40 or real close to 40 points a game. You start off, you're about 35 points a game. That's still like one of the highest in like the last decade for the University of Miami to see. You just got to get there. Just a little bit more efficacy. I think, under the hood, microscopically, I think the red zone could be better. You know, I think the red zone we kind of bogged down. I think we can aid from a little run game diversification, which this is a nice segment because that's literally what I'm doing on YouTube these days. I'd steal that plays that we could potentially steal for the University of Miami, and we're going to tackle some of these run game things but I do know, and this was the thing I said last year, and you know, I'm not really answering the question, but I'm just putting some backdrop to it. Yeah. Like Rhett Lashley sets a lot of things up. He is setting a few moves in the route. So when that inside zone comes up and gets like -1 yards or 2, it's gonna happen. You know, when that quick toss happens and it's behind the line of scrimmage, he's gonna fake the toss, and that's what gets Will Mallory open down the seam. Sure. So you got to kind of deal with that, but we need to be able to get to that 40-point threshold that has been escaping us for like decades. And the fact we can do that by going in the red zone. And the most identifiable piece for me, just we need to get the wide receivers to step up, because we had our biggest struggles when we just simply could not win one-on-one matchups on the outside. If we have a wide receiver who can win one-on-one matchups on the outside, this offense will eat. It will. Absolutely. That kind of leads me into my next question, which is, boom. If you look at crunching the numbers, what do you notice from like a play calling standpoint? So would you say it was well balanced last year, or what would you say maybe needs to be improved or diversified in that offense going into year 2 to get to 40? I'm not that big balance guy, right? Because the reason why what skews these numbers are RPOs, because you got to remember every time you come to the line of scrimmage, it's a run pass option. Either or. So either or. So the efficacy for me always is withstanding on the fact, like, how good, what did the numbers look at the end? Like, what was our rushing numbers? Some games we might end up with 400 passing because they're given so much cushion and we can kill them on the quick screen game or the quick perimeter game. Some games they're giving us a soft box, so we're going to be able to go ahead and run it and pound them down their throat. Given the choice, you know Rhett Lashley's going to want to run them out of the building. But that doesn't always happen that way because the defense is trying to pick. So the run pass option kind of skews that. So I'm going to go back to the points. Okay. I don't really care about the balance of how much he's running, how much he's passing. It all is going to come down to, are we scoring points? Because sometimes our defense is going to let us down. We're going to have to boat race a couple teams. We're going to have to get in a couple shootouts. We're going to have to win a couple times like Oklahoma. But there's going to be other times because you play in the ACC and defense is more of a premium over here on this. This conference, this division is cannibalism at its finest. It should be called the Fine Young Cannibalist, conference. I mean, she drives me crazy. Great song, by the way. Anyway, and this ACC drives me crazy. It does. Oh. It drives me crazy. And in order to do that, you just gotta outscore them, boys. You gotta outscore them. I don't care about the balance. Just give me the points. Just give me the points. Okay. So, kind of going with that as well. When we look at 2022 next year, do you think at all the RPO game diminishes when you have a true pro style QB back there in TVD or Jake Garcia? Does it at all get tailored towards a guy that's not mobile and he's not going to be out there running and things like that, improvising? No, because the RPO game can be multifaceted. I mean, you just look at how well Jake Garcia plugged in his first year as a freshman, because of a lot of the multifaceted RPOs, pre-read stuff, using tempo, he could come in and be over 70%. So I think it actually helps these kids being in a pro system. See, and the number one reason, this is just me, this is just opinion based. The number one reason why I didn't really necessarily want a pro, and you're looking at a lot of teams and colleges that just don't run it. It's just so hard these days to make that install. You got the pro system. What do those guys do for a living? Football. That's all they do. They don't got to go to class. They could go ahead and be in a meeting room for 5 hours. I don't have all the time in the world to have, like, when you get these NFL teams, they'll put in one play, they'll practice it against 16 different coverages. You don't have that time at the University of Miami. Dan Enos proved that. I mean, once in a while you have a good game plan. The other thing, then you're getting your heads up against the wall against some like D3 school because they're sitting there cornering and everything. So I like the up tempo. I like the RPO stuff. I think it's easier to employ. Just get the athletes, get the guys that can operate that system good. I think those guys are going to eat in this kind of style system. I think the RPO game will actually help them more than the pro game will hurt them. Sure. So over the last 2 seasons, Ro, we played more zone coverage than in any of the seasons that Manny was here, in any of the 3 seasons that Manny was DC. So I kind of wanted to ask you, what do you kind of expect maybe the defensive packages to look like this year with the personnel that we have? Obviously, there were some stellar defenses back in 2018 and whatnot, but I mean, what do you expect to see that's a major difference with Manny calling the shots? Well, T-Rob, that was a specialist too when he talks about it. He was more of a bump guy, right? He's more of a man-on-man guy. So you can kind of expect that to kind of switch. I mean, honestly, you had to live a lot more. And Canes fans, please understand this. You had to live more in zone last year. You didn't have the depth at corner, right? You put these guys in man, they're running back and forth. You're not going to even last in the third and fourth quarter. I'm telling you, there was probably some zone calls because out of preservation. Because I see it on film. I'd see Blades doing the universal sign, which is tap my helmet to come out, and they're like, "Who are you putting in? You don't have anybody back there. Like they're either suspended or 142 pounds. Like we don't have any valid option here, right?" So they're like, nope. They're like the University of Miami, like they collectively cover their eyes. They become that guy. They come. Like, I didn't see him touch his helmet. Stay out there. Stay out there. So of course we got to live in Miami. You get a little bit more people. You play it a little bit more. You get a knack. You get a feel. You get some depth. You get some talent. I think you got some secondary talent that you guys can go ahead and play a lot more man. Then you can make things a little bit more interesting on the back end. So I think they're going to switch again. I think they have some talent. They can run a little bit more man. Once again, I'm a type of guy. Is this team really good and adept at killing us in man? Some teams are better at beating us against man because they just got the horses to do it. Or is my zone going to confuse their freshman quarterback? You got to be multiple. It's not a one shoe fits all. I can promise you, anybody in the ACC, if they knew you're playing man every single play, because that's what we see on Twitter. Play man. What's the zone crap? And then they realized the 2001 team sat in like a 4-2, like 4-3 cover 2, like 90% of the time, right? They were playing zone. They just were ball hawking everything. The game is so adapt now that you got to just keep mixing your coverage. You got to keep making it hard for the quarterback. So as long as they keep mixing it up, it's fine. But you need to have the ability to play man. I agree with you.
So, Ro, kind of speaking on the defense, while we're talking about it, one of my biggest concerns is the defensive end position. And the lack of experience in that regard. We obviously lost Jalen Phillips, Greg Rousseau. But one thing I wanted to do is bring up something that you tweeted out that I kind of didn't really think of. And I think Canes fans don't really think of it. They just see the results. Was you had said you think it was impressive that Canes had 2 first-rounders, but it was the how. A skinny little hometown kid that didn't play defensive end who they developed into a monster, and a skitty out-of-town kid done with football, injury-prone transfer who they turned into a machine. With that being said, who do you see? Obviously, I don't think we have a guy that's at that talent level, but who do you see that can kind of step up this year at defensive end?
I'm going to boomerang this. Who do you see is coming? Who do you see? Because that's the problem that I have right here. Because the only thing that this is, I share your concerns. The only thing that makes it palatable for me, right, is the fact that Jess Simpson's back. Yeah. And Jess Simpson was a guy like Trent Harris, you know what I'm saying, wasn't really expected to do much, you know what I'm saying? So, in this arena, and we had a monster in the middle that year too. So for me, and this is totally not answering your question, right? I'm totally going political here.
It's okay. It's okay.
If the defensive tackle position can step up here, it's going to kind of flip like what it did when we were last time successful. Because remember, we had a beast in the middle, right?
Absolutely.
We had, and they focused so much there that the defensive end, Trent Harris went off. You know what I'm saying? Then we had like a young baby, Garvin, who was doing great too. So like we weren't expecting much from the defensive end position. Anyways, that year, it was just all hyperbole and hype, but it ended up doing really well. I like Jess Simpson back. He really makes it easier for me to go that. I think he's going to get a lot out of these guys. I think I have that much respect for him as a coach, that whoever he picks, whatever name we throw out of the hat, I think he's going to get a lot out of it. But I don't know if it's going to be McLeod though. Well, you already asked me that question. That segment, I already said that's more hype than real. So I don't think it's going to be McLeod. But we'll see. Maybe he is the next toolbox Trent. We'll see.
There we go. So with that, Ro, who's one player on offense and one player on defense that you're looking forward to watching this year? Who's the guy that you got marked on both sides of the ball?
I think Avante, right?
Absolutely.
I think there's something about him when he's there. And I know Bubba's like, this is our secondary. And Avante's like, bullshit. like he's going to have something to say about that. That guy just covers some mad ground. Like that's that dude. Like you had that, you put him in center field and he's like calling balls off and left and right. That's the guy that like, and that can help you, man. When you have an eraser back there like a Jaquan Johnson was, when you have an eraser that literally just can cover a multitude of sins, he can make your defense look great or he can make it look bad. So I that's my guy, Avante. And you know what? Because we mentioned him, right? And I wasn't thinking about this. There was a ghost that just came back behind me. She's smiling. That's my beautiful. I just noticed it on the screen too. It was my beautiful wife, Daniela. She just walked by. My better half. Her office is stage left of me, so we share it.
Gotcha.
Zion, let's go.
Nice.
What's more important than a left tackle? What's more important than a left tackle? Let's have a season, Zion. Let's go into the first round, kid. I'm behind you. I was more hard on that kid. My film found that kid more time in Dan Enos' offense. So a lot of times it wasn't even his fault. Dan Enos was calling like 9-step drops in the court. I mean, it was just doomed for failure.
Right.
Like even him as a projected first rounder this year, he can only hold up for so long. But you know what? The fact that he gets that, I'm like one of his biggest fans because my spotlight was on that kid so much. But bro, for you to do what you're doing, I'm going to be your biggest champion. So you know what? My pick this year, let's go, Mr. Zion. You left tackle. That's my guys.
I love it. And it all starts up front, right? I love it.
Yep.
That's it. I love it. That's a great pick. So we know Don Chaney has the banged up shoulder right now, but based off of last season in the spring, Roman, in your opinion, who do you want to get that bulk of the workload as RB1?
Man, it's so easy to go with the younger guys, right? Why does Cam get such a knock here? I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, there's just like this stigma. I mean, he had games where he was really, really good.
For
I don't
sure.
even know if this is warranted, because they were like, oh, Ro, do you see him missing holes? Yeah, a couple of times, but all running backs miss holes once in there. He's a guy that could pound the rock. He could play inside the tackles. He could do good. I mean, I like the Rooster a lot. I do, because he's the home run back. He's the guy that could put his foot in the dirt and go, but it's like sometimes he's just trying to bounce it too much. Don Chaney would be the guy, but he's hurt. Because Don Chaney, I think, is special. What Don Chaney's special to me, it's just he's always moving forward. Yep. He's always getting positive yards. No matter what, he's just, I fell down and got 4.5 yards. Thanks, Don. That's his gift. But I don't really necessarily get the Cam slander so much.
Sure.
I wouldn't mind. I know they want a RB1. I know what Rhett Lashley said. But the fact of the matter is, I'm okay with split committee. I was okay with it last year. Just give it to the hot hand. If you find the hot hand, though, keep him hot. Don't just unilaterally pull him. And you remember Damian Barry? Remember he was a safety? Do you remember what they used to do with Damian? Like, they wouldn't put Damian Barry in until the second half when everybody was gassed in the South Florida humidity. You know what? Put Cam Harris in the Damian Barry role. Just put him in the third and fourth quarter. Just let him bowling ball everybody.
Well, and he bulldozes cats. He runs over cats.
Yeah, all day long. So, like, you know what? Just keep them fresh and just be like, that's your closer. Hey, we got a starting running back. We're gonna go baseball here, right? We're gonna go baseball. We're gonna have a starting running back and a closing running back. This is our closing bruiser. Just put him in there and let's pound on people. Let's go.
I like that.
Yeah, let's go.
I like that.
You heard it here first.
Closer, second half only.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw one here out from one of the guys out here, and then there's a couple more that's in here we'll get to. But this is kind of goes in with what you guys were talking about. Bergie wants to know who besides Nesta and Hunt can provide push up the middle to help make it easier on the ends.
Oof. Didn't we mention him?
Defensive tackle in the country, right? The number defense. He's on campus. I mean, you can't be the number one defensive tackle in the country and not play. I mean, there's a reason why you're the number one defensive tackle. I mean, young man's going to come in and eat. 56 nightmares. Let's go.
He's getting reps Labor Day weekend. Absolutely getting reps.
I like Harry too. I mean, I really liked him. Even as last year when he came in, I felt like he made a difference. A real penetrating style of kid. He gets real like he's like a contortionist sometimes. Like for a big frame, that's where I think his gift is defensive tackle. For as big as he gets small. Sure. He knows how to get small, right? As big as he is, he can get small. He's quick and he can get into the backfield. So, and hopefully Nesta this year too has that big jump, right? Because Absolutely. That was the last highest rated defensive tackle we brought in. So hopefully he takes that. He has his moments where he flashes. He's a big bully, body.
So violent, dude. He's violent, dude.
Violent. He's that guy that you want on the defensive side of the ball. He's kind of like a trendsetter. Now I love the De'Aaron King, quiet, guy back there, quarterback. Right. Cool. I love it because offense, you can't really rely so much on emotion. Defense, I want a bunch of dogs. I don't want some cats, just like that Coastal Carolina. I want a bunch of dogs. And Nesta's a dog. Right. So hopefully he can go ahead and jump. But yeah, to answer that question, you got a freshman coming in.
Do you remember freshman year Nesta when I can't remember who was against on that punt?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Just threw him back into the punter.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was the movie 300, and he just fucking
This is
slaughtered
Sparta. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
exactly.
He just threw him. He just threw him.
Yeah,
Well,
it was Amari. Amari ended up doing like the spear, the Goldberg spear, right? Like he speared somebody like a Bethune-Cookman, and that guy just died.
Yeah.
He died. They needed to call 911. They literally there was we needed to report a murder on the field.
Yeah,
Right.
And that one was legal too, by the way. I don't know if you believe that, but that was illegal.
They just buried him right on the field.
Yeah.
That was a mid 90s Goldberg spear. That was like 1996, 1997, just flat back. Bro, hey, so for all the listeners that don't know, kind of explain what the blue chip ratio is and where Miami kind of falls on that right now based on some classes that are stacking up.
Well, the blue chip ratio is near and dear to me. I get booed every time I bring it.
I love when you talk about it. I love when you talk about it.
Blue chip ratio. It's like a mythical number, but anytime you have a roster that is comprised of 50% or more blue chips, right? And which means is you have 4 or 5 star players that comprise more. You have 85 scholarship players. So when you have more than half of your scholarship players are 4 and 5 star and above, you get into this mythical class of a 50% or higher. There hasn't been a national championship winning team in like the last 17 years. It keeps going and going and going. Who hasn't been above the 50% threshold? Sure. The lowest we got was pretty much in the 20s when Al Golden, we were in that threat of sanctions, got a couple sanctions, so we got low. Mark Richt did a really good job laying the blueprint. Manny Diaz put it over the edge because they do adjusted blueprints for transfers. Because a guy like De'Aaron King doesn't come in as a 4-star, but when he comes back in 24/7 composite, goes ahead and relocates him. Obviously, he comes in as a 4-star. Jalen Phillips comes in. You know what I'm saying? He was the number one player. Obviously, he comes in as a blue chip. So those guys help you as well. And there was a couple guys. Like we ended up getting that Buffalo wide receiver. He was like a 2-star, but his adjusted to get it too. Yeah. So KJ. Now, it starts there. I mean, when I like analytics, I use it. You know, I don't die on it. I don't think you got to go crazy about it, because I think what helps Miami here too, Miami criminally is underrated, right? Can we agree? And it's not just a homerism in us. Plus, please trust me, it's a subscription bias. It's real. We don't have the fan base like some of the other ones. I mean, rivals Florida State, whatever name they have. If all of a sudden a 3-star gets bored to the 4-star, they sell like 1,500 subscriptions the next day to see if this kid signs. Miami, we don't necessarily have that, but like. We mentioned him like Garvin, right? You're the sack leader in Palm Beach County. How in the world are you not 4 stars? I mean, it was like criminal. And that kid's a 3-star. You know what I'm saying? You get Pinckney. Pinckney was a damn good player for us. He wasn't a 4. Like there's some Miami, if you're 50% or closer, beyond 50% for me, they have enough talent. You got to get the quarterback, though. You got to get a really, really good quarterback. Can't be over 50% and not have a quarterback. That's the difference between these teams.
Sure.
But that is the what I harp on a lot as far as the blue chip ratio. We dipped back up underneath the 50%, but we'll see what happens. I mean, Tyreek helped that. I have to look at the actual numbers. We dipped back up under 50%, but we should be getting close, especially if we can make some moves here.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, the recruiting's been, getting better and better with the Storm 18 class and obviously last year. And so the recruiting's been there to sometimes maybe the talent development has been arguable. So what I wanted to ask you is it ACC Coastal Champs or bust for year 3, Manny Diaz head coach?
I think so, because what made it a make or break season for me is you got to beat North Carolina.
Have to.
Like I'm not expecting to beat Alabama, right? But after what happened against North Carolina, and you literally said we got to change things. Things are broke. You went out, you get Shoop, you do a lot of things to the defense. Now you're calling plays, so you realize that the defensive side of the ball, which was your calling card, Manny Diaz, was broken. So now you got to fix it. You have to beat North Carolina. Like you have to beat North Carolina. And I think if you beat North Carolina, you're going to be the Coastal champ, right? You're going to be the Coastal champ. Now, fine young cannibalists, don't make me sing again, because that's a high register for me, and I don't necessarily get that unless I cut my balls. Anyway, I am telling you that it's anyone's game. And Manny Diaz said, listen, there's so much coach speak out there. There's so much of it. But the one thing that, it's funny because when you learn to like mute it out and you actually hear some of the talk, that's real talk. Manny Diaz said, you have to win this way in the Coastal. You have to win close games until you amass enough talent like Clemson, and then you can go ahead and win big.
Sure.
That was huge. I mean, he basically called himself out. He basically said, we need to recruit better, boys. And then he went and got a whole bunch of recruiters. So he knows, like, dude, this conference sucks. I mean, it's just we haven't done well since we've been here. Sure. And like all these teams just constantly beat each other up in the Coastal. So I would like to say by beating North Carolina, you're going to be the Coastal champ. I hope that works. I hope that answers your question. I just want to beat North Carolina this year.
I just do.
And that's on the road. That's on the road.
I know.
Yeah,
and I think, well, to beat North Carolina, you got to have receivers bringing the ball into the numbers, right? You have to. So, I mean, you got to have them catching it. So I guess my next question is, if Harley and Rambo are going to start, Roman, who are you running out at wide receiver 3 and 4?
I think
that are going to win you a North Carolina football game.
I think you got to find a way to keep Restrepo on the field. I mean, he is that guy. He's going to will you to win. I mean, he is a I mention this guy all the time. I got like a secret fan. He is like a Tim Tebow at wide receiver. Like Tim Tebow literally put eye black on, like 316 eye black, and like literally willed his team to win. We will never lose a game again. And they didn't. Like that's
true.
And Restrepo's the same DNA. Like, we ain't losing, dog. Like he will literally say that. So you got to find a way to go ahead and keep him on the field. So I like Restrepo a lot too. And then you got 3 interesting freshmen to come in. That's nice. I think Smith needs to be on special teams. I think that kid's special. I think that kid is going to go ahead and turn some heads. And then Michael Redding.
I was going to say Smith or Redding. Who that would be my pick for the 4th.
I think Redding. I think it's close between those two. Whoever has the better camp, I'm going to go ahead and edge that out. That's that. But I think Restrepo is definitely a 3, 4 or 5 or that. But there's a couple numbers we're leaving off.
It was a little bit by design.
Yeah. So Ro, speaking about that, okay, it's 4th and goal. You got to line up and cover one Canes receiver at the goal line. Fate of the world is in your hands. Who are you choosing to cover?
I got to cover him. So
you got to cover him.
Like, oh man, I'm going to make sure I get this question. So I got to cover. Well, I don't need to cover like one of those two because it's just going to drop it. so like that's the reality, right? I'm like, hey, you're probably going to get wide open, but you're probably going to drop this ball. I'm going to get so psychological warfare in their head too. Like, you're going to drop this, right? You were 1 and 2. You were 1 and 2 in drop percentage in ACC. How are you that bad? Like, how can you not catch? Like, your job's to catch, right? That's all you do is catch, but you can't catch. I'm literally going to say that the whole time. He's going to blow my doors off. I'm not particularly fast. And he's going to drop the ball, and I'm just going to laugh. So that's the fate of the world. That's the fate of the world. I think Pope's a little bit more sure-handed. So put me on Wiggins. Put me on Wiggins. I'll body him, too. These guys are skinny. Bro, you know me. I'm Barry Bonds. I'm Barry Bonds, bro. I got the advantage. I'm playing bump. I'm
45. He just said 45 extra pounds, dude. He's bumping him in the first 3 yards. I
got my meat hooks on it. I grabbing him, and I'm not letting you go. Come on, dude. Right. I'm not. Whatever. Whatever.
Funny. That was a great question, Matty. That was a great question.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Rose. So I got a couple more for you, my man.
Cool.
Greatest concern for you heading into this 2021 season on the football team?
Linebacker.
Yeah. We've talked about it. We've talked about it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it was. I don't. 44. We go with numbers when we're like. That's like the new Canes pariah thing, right? Once we just refer to you as a number, like, you're done. Like once we start calling you by number, like it's Derek King, right? It's Harley. We don't call Harley 3.
Well, dude, and
3 had a great game. It was Harley had a great game. It was Cam, it was like, but if we're like, ooh, wow, 5 dropped another one. You know what I'm saying? It's like you start calling numbers. The linebacker position, I just don't think you're going to get it done with Bradley Jennings. We saw it a lot last year. McLeod obviously moved from the position. They're trying to fill it with like strikers. They're trying to get it, which, okay, they're better athletes. Go ahead and put them at the outside linebacker position, one of them at outside linebacker, and then keep a striker at striker position, which is like your other outside linebacker.
Sure.
Gonna have to find somebody in the middle. I know they're actively looking in the portal. The spring game was concerning because it was really easy to get separation within the middle of the field. I thought the slot guys ate because anytime they were put on linebackers, they seemed to have that. And that's what teams are going to do to us. You know, anytime I've seen go back to the Clemson game last year. Did Clemson really beat us down the field? Were they killing us down? No, they weren't. They were killing us horizontal. They've killed us the last 2 games horizontal. If you're going horizontal, who are you picking on? You're picking on linebackers. When you're going vertical, you're picking on the secondary. When you're going this way, you're and that's the thing. You can't have teams picking on you that easy from left to right. And that's how I knew we had a really, against big boys, I knew we had a problem at the linebacker position. That's where my film found it last year. That was my new version of Zion Nelson. So we're going to have to get better at that linebacker position, boys.
Well, and just like you alluded to, Roman, Bradley Jennings was the lowest graded person on Miami's defense last year per Pro Football Focus. The lowest.
Then March, and it's not. And listen, and I agree with it because I'm not necessarily. Because Pro Football Focus. Well, what are they watching? I'm watching the same film, for the most part, and I'm just seeing blown coverages or missed holes or a step late, and they kind of saw it the same way. So I agree there where he was rated low, and that's the thing. You can't march that out there again. You just can't do it. You just can't do it, and you can't do it early on. You can't have another Greg Tober. You just can't do it. Can't do it.
Ro, you just reminded me of something when you talk about like mentioning the numbers whenever it's a Miami player that's not playing well or whatever. I was watching the game with my girl. I can't remember which game it was. It might have been it wasn't the bowl game. But I think it was D Wiggins dropped a pass or something, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like making a huge scene, yelling and stuff. And she's like, "Was it 6 or 8 this time?"
Oh, I called him 5 before. Yeah. It was 8.
Bro, you were probably talking about the spring game. All right, that's probably the spring game.
So actually, you know what? It might have been because when we were in Colorado. Actually,
who did he? And he burnt on the other side. He burnt the 8, and that was the other thing too. He burnt 8, and I was like, all right, this is what they keep doing. It's the same guys over and over and over and over and over. 44, 8, 6. You know their numbers. You know their numbers. And once we start calling you by number, man, you're Miami social pariah. So amen. Yeah, your girl's astute. She's astute. She's probably the better half too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, she definitely is. Yeah.
Caniacs, right now when I look at you, bro, you look like skinny toast. You do.
Well, I've been learning from him. I've been studying this film.
Skinny toast.
Skinny toast is a thing?
Yeah, skinny toast. I looked up. I'm like, I'm so used to looking up and seeing my producer. Saying it's toast. I look up. He's on the screen. I'm like, there he is. He's skinny toast.
Dude.
Better looking too, I would say.
And what kind of a lead-in was that, dude? Roman just put that right on cue for the most important question of the interview. The last question of this interview. You teed it up. Roman versus Toast, who wins in an Oklahoma drill right now?
Oh, me all day.
Easy.
All day, dude. I'm a savage, man. Like, I'm smiling and stuff like that, man, but I get after it, bro. I listen, that's part of the athlete in me that never died. Like, you guys know what I do. I kept it hidden for so long, and then you jump into a canal and everybody figures out what you do for a living. But that is a big part of my life, man. I am Ray Lewis of the firefighting industry. Like, I run our recruit academy. I'm in gear. I'm yelling. I'm giving passionate speeches. I'm even doing the Ray Lewis dance. Like, I'm working with my boys all the time. I'm in gear in the middle of the day. Like, I embraced that. That was the part of me that never died after being an athlete. And that's why I gravitated to the fire service in the first place. Just being able to be a part of a team, to like think about something beyond yourself. So, oh man, no, I would will that to win. No way. Okay. No way.
All right.
No way.
There it is, dude. Roman calls it flat backing him within minutes, dude. Done.
I don't think Toast would argue with that at
Seconds. Bro. This like laughter, this smile is gonna switch fast, bro. And when it fit, see, and that's the thing. Because I've heard it said to me, they're like, man, they're like, man, when you get serious, then I realize how big you are. Like, because I'm like 6'4", 250.
Bro, hey, we need to see that Oklahoma drill before Labor Day, dude. Put it on the start. The start of OBB. We need to see that Oklahoma drill before Labor Day. Pads or no pads?
Oh boy, I could hear like the OBB legal team getting in defense for him right now. Signing waivers. Oh my goodness, I'm paying his hospital bills. I'm saying no.
It'd be like that clip of Amari Carter and Mark Pope. Oh god.
The accordion clip. Oh god.
Yeah, this ain't lasting long.
That's what happened. Oh man.
Hilarious. right, well, we got one here from the chat. Now, this is one thing we talked about last week, so they already have our answers on it. I would like to get your answer on this one here, Roman. About do you have any concerns about just having one commit at this particular time?
Hey, by the way, shout out to Vicious Vic. I know him. We're friends. Good dude. Very good dude. Active on Kane's Twitter. Good job. Yes, I'm concerned. I made a comment about it because a backhand comment because I don't think we're going to get in the top 10 this year in recruiting. That's a lot of ground to make up. I think they were 72nd when I look, and they got one recruit. Now, listen, man, there's so many things that I don't know, because I was like, they only took one linebacker once and was like Bradley Jennings. I'm like, what are they doing? I was like, oh, they got to have plans. And apparently they didn't have plans. I think it's concerning. It is. Yeah. I mean, you want to be great late. You don't want to be great early. That's what the Al Golden years taught me. And obviously you got the most important position. They got a good one. So I like the fact that if you're going to get one, make sure that it's the quarterback. They'll pick up. I'm not expecting much. I'm not. I'm just going to temper my expectations. We get in the top 25, I'll be happy, but I don't see a top 10 class coming this year, boys.
There we go.
All right.
You got Matty Ice.
Yeah, I kind of got a question. I wanted to shift over and talk a little bit about the OBB.
Okay.
A lot of good episodes. Obviously, we're all fans of the pod. What's kind of an episode that kind of comes to mind, or moments from your time of doing it that like sticks out? I think for us, we were talking about the Malik Rozier episode earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But what's kind of the one that sticks out to you?
That's always going to be the one.
Okay.
It is for me too. I'll try to get a second one. I'll try to think about it. But for me, it was honestly, and I want to say this as humbly as possible, because he was so under fire. So under fire. And you don't really see that anymore. And honestly, it was because, and I would see it so much online, boys. They'd be like, "Oh, Malik was trash." And I'm like, "No, bro, listen to the episode on the OBB." And people would listen to it, and they would shoot out to us, and they're like, "Man, my perception changed of the kid." You know what I'm saying? Because it was just that rare opportunity for us to just kind of like just talk. Just be, and at first I was like, there's no way Malik's going to come on, right? Does he know that I do like video things? You know what I'm saying? I'm not always the most friendly. I'll just say what I say. And he came on, and dude, what a great guy. Just, did the best what he could. I mean, he was limited with certain things. You know what I'm saying? I think we can agree there. You know what I'm saying? He obviously didn't get a chance to play. I think he's going to do phenomenal as a coach. I know he's doing some GA stuff. We wish him all the luck in the world. It was all said and done. He was a Cane through and through. He battled. He beat Florida State for us. I mean, what do you want? I mean, like that. He snapped the streak. He was just an insane good dude. And the rest of it, like the episodes, honestly, because then I just shift to like some of the laughter over the years, and that's kind of like breaks us off into like benched. I mean, at the end of it, like you guys, it's just we're boys. We're Hurricane fans. We love it. We go there. And that's what's been a thrill, because in the offseason we broke off the bench because we just laugh and have fun, So like having Scott Bergen on was just hysterical for me, just listen to this guy talk stories about terrorizing his little league pitching. I mean, that was just a fun episode. And that episode, we had like 4 guests. We had like Joaquin come on. That episode was nuts. We had like, we had, what did we have? We had Joaquin. We had Scott Bergen come on. And then we also had, who else did we? Brock Berlin was on that episode.
Oh
and that was a thrill. That was a thrill. It was like 4 interviews. It was 4 interviews long, just laughing with Scott Bergen. So that was definitely an interview and a highlight for me. But as far as the most, I think you all know. I think, and now I mean, I don't understand how you're gonna top that. I mean, as far as that was concerned,
that episode that was phenomenal.
Jimmy Murphy episode too.
Yes, that was good.
That was
good.
a phenomenal
just
one,
hearing his story and stuff, that was really awesome.
And then obviously when you turn around and you have Braxton Berrios, like I told myself, when my kids are old enough to appreciate it, I want to have them go back and listen to the Braxton Berrios interview just to see how driven of a young man that kid is.
Oh man,
just like going to sleep latest, waking up the earliest, just like getting straight A's, being absolutely pissed that his teacher gave him a B. That was one of the most driven human beings I've ever talked to, and like all the success in the world. And then you realize, he's a professional athlete now, because just some people in their DNA, they can't fail. They're built different. And I was always impressed with Braxton's Berrios' interview too, because that was so impressive. And let's just say, because he was the one guy who was like, don't snip your balls. So you guys know that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's like, don't do it. And I'm like, me and you are friends for life, bro. You were friends for life.
That kind of sealed it right there for you, didn't it?
Yep. I was like, that's two. That's two. Braxton Berrios, just on that quote alone. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Man, we're talking a lot about rose balls tonight.
We are.
Yeah, you
Almost
know,
there.
it's Roe exposed. This
is.
is whatever.
Oh,
All right, Ro, I
man.
got one for
Hey,
you real quick.
Talk to me.
All
Bruce.
right. If I was to get, I had a bunch more in there, but you kind of talked about a lot of the stuff I was going to ask you anyway. But if I was to give you a ticket and you can go anywhere in time, where would you go?
A ticket, and I could go anywhere in time. September 10th before September 11th. And I'd tell everybody what was about to happen.
Wow.
Wow.
That's just what immediately came to my mind.
And I think
And I
that's
said,
an-
listen,
I
I would
understand
I would have to find ways to prove that I'm from the future. I would have to like research it a bit and tell them, hey, listen, the train's going to come here at this. This is going to be your headline today. Don't go in these buildings tomorrow because they're going to fly a plane in it.
Wow. It's heavy, man,
right.
for sure.
Sorry,
that is
didn't mean to go there.
No,
No,
man.
that's fine.
It shows your
Totally
personality
understand.
and
Yep.
the type of person you are, man. Because
Well,
you didn't even think about that. You said that right away.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a post 9/11, firefighter. So like
Yeah.
that kind of like, when my hopes and dreams, like so many, athletes, when it didn't work out, having some shoulder issues, obviously with the weight gain. But
Dude, it happens to all of us when we get older.
but it really made me reevaluate things. It was just something, because family things were starting to happen around me. It was bad times, and it's just something like that. I'm just like, man, these people did like such a sacrificial thing. It was just so mind blowing to me that somebody could be that brave, and it was something that kind of like struck a chord, and then little by little would start to like build up because guys, I mean, I would watch like movies like Braveheart, back in the day, and like Gladiator, and I would leave depressed because I'm like, man, that's great, and I don't feel like I'm doing something. And then as soon as I remember, and she's to my left, and I said, I think I want to be a firefighter. And she's like, I think you would be great at it. And it was just, that was something else. And just a lot of things just kept kicking and kicking. And from then on, I was just like, all right, this is cool. So like between 9/11, and it's just hit. And then once I found that, I mean, I felt 16 years. I just hit my 16-year anniversary at the place.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Congrats.
And it's 16 years that I don't regret. I don't feel like I work a day in my life. I love what I do. I love what I did beforehand, but some of the regrets is like, maybe I should have got into it sooner, but I'm definitely glad. But I'm just, that day changed so many, but it definitely changed me.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely changed me.
No,
Outstanding.
that's a great response. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people's, they obviously everyone kind of heard about, the secret top secret job, after
Thanks, Loans.
the event that occurred.
By the way, Loans, I hope you're feeling much better, brother.
Yeah, feel better, bro. He's in the hospital right now. The OBB sent him a gift.
Speaking of loans, he was the one that made this great T-shirt.
Because I know you get. I love that guy, dude. He's good peeps. He's good peeps.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Loans out at it. Secret day job. But I'll let you finish. But before people literally came to me like, wait a second, you're not in the CIA?
I'll be honest. Honestly, I thought you were in the CIA. I seriously
people
did.
literally.
Sorry,
I was like, saying it. Yeah.
That's okay.
And because in the early episodes you had to catch it because it would change every week, and it would be like FBI, ATF, and then I was like CIA, and it just stuck. I was like, it just stuck on the CIA. I mean, it's the way you spell my last name, CIA is in the middle of it, so I'm like, all right, I'll stick with it.
I was like, Jesus Christ, he's Michael Bourne.
Marshall Thomas from State of the U, Marsh. He's like, what? You're not in the CIA? And I'm like, no, bro.
No, you're a CIA firefighter.
Right, exactly.
I'm a firefighter. I've always. It took like 8 years for people to figure that out. I never said a word. And then that's the second part. Yeah, go ahead.
I seriously thought you were like Michael Bourne or something, man.
Yeah. No.
Jason.
Yeah.
Jason
Yeah,
Bourne.
whatever.
Sorry, Michael Bourne. Whatever. Same thing. And shut up, Chris.
Those are solid movies. Those are solid movies. Those are solid movies.
It's a solid trilogy. Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool
man.
concept. Guy gets amnesia. He's like a, top secret killer. That second one, when it starts out like his girl gets sniped off the bridge, dude, that was intense. What? I was like, bro, that was intense. She got bamboozled. Anyway,
bamboozled.
It was like the things that fascinate us. Anyway,
bro, man. So obviously, Caniacs are part of the OBB Patreon chat. Which I wanted to plug, because it's done a lot for us. I don't think there wouldn't be, there wouldn't be a Canes Call-In podcast or show without it. And I want to thank you too for always supporting us and always answering all the questions we have, promoting us on your show. You've done that a few times yourself, and we just really appreciate it. But what does it kind of mean to have a community like that? And obviously me and Caniacs are involved in that community, but what does it mean to you with things like the Luca to the U movement and everything? Can you just kind of speak on that a little bit?
It's family. It's not cliche. I mean, it was the hidden joy in the friendships that I developed, it was like, you can open up your home like, hey guys, let's go watch a game. And like, you've talked to these people for years, you never met them, and they come in your house and it's like, you hit it off. And it's like, everything. Hey, how's your wife? How's it good? How's it good? Hey, Loans, how's your hospital?
Exactly.
Hey, this. And you just ask. And it's so fascinating to me. And that this community can spring forth, Katie, actually, he just, shout out to Loans, and we'll shout out again, yet he's having some health issues and he mobilized real quick. And we're making sure that he's okay. I had to do my CIA detective skills. I found out what hospital he's at.
Good job.
Yeah, I found it. But, it's everything. And nothing more important to the OBB family and community right now. Luca to the U. And obviously, man, that's, and that's, man, I don't want to talk. Yeah. I mean, because he was on the show. I mean, that's just tough. That's just tough.
Yeah.
That is my worst nightmare on the world, in the planet, is to outlive my kids, the potential for it. And we pray, and I pray that he continues to find health, peace, serenity. But we're with you, and it's tough, and that's part of the family too, because you're going to laugh with them, you're going to cry with them, you're going to wish them well. But yeah, we definitely wish them well. So, but yeah, no, I'm proud of you boys. We're there from the infancy, and I'm shaking my. Oh no, you guys did it, man. It's like you guys had a play. It's like you guys do great, man. You guys do great work. Great interview. Of course, you can't go wrong with St. Thomas, former St. Thomas kid. Right. Just got to plug that too. But no, you guys do great, and we're stoked and we're happy for you guys and all the continued success. And that's the thing too. Like we never got into this about being like hoarders. It's just spread the wealth, man. Just have fun. Man. I mean, it's just you guys care about each other, your friends. Go talk about something you're passionate, and this could spring forth. And that's what we did. It was a complete accident, and then we just, in the off season, we just get to have fun. We do outlandish humor things. You guys know us by now, and we just sit there and do it. But when Alabama comes rolling around, OBB will come back, and we'll do what we do.
And
we'll do what we do.
Wait to hear that one. I can't.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll come fired up. Right now we follow the baseball team, big series. Well, what are they doing right now? Do we know? They're playing FAU tonight. Did they win? If they win tonight.
The last I saw, they were down 2-0.
Well, because I'm saying if they could have win tonight against FAU, that's something they pretty much haven't done since joining ACC, win all their mid-conference games. So midweek games, those things have been troubling for them for the rest of the year. And then they got a big series against Louisville next week. So hopefully we can keep the bats hot. FAU win. Strong program.
Yeah, they did. All right. That's all I had.
That's all you got?
What you got, Matt? You got anything else, Matty? Bro.
Well, that was kind of how I wanted it ending about the OBB fan, man.
Amen.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Well, Roman, we're all big fans, man, and we've been listening to the OBB for a long time, and you're one of my absolute favorite podcast hosts. So, I know I've never met you before, but I appreciate you coming on and chopping it up with us tonight, man.
No problem, man. This was good times. Like, yeah, I'll next time I won't I guess I wasn't supposed to be it just said be on at 8:30. So I came on. Hey, you're coming on in the open? Yeah, I'll stay for the whole. I didn't even know.
Most guests don't come in till like quarter after, but I mean, it's fine. I mean,
My bad.
no.
No, it was all Kaniak's fault. It's okay.
You made the
He's
show
old.
better.
He's senile. He didn't take his medicine yet. It's not.
Well,
it's
actually,
not-
if he would read
not
in
your fault,
Discord,
Ro.
it actually does say 8:45, but we already know who the dyslexic one in this family is.
Yeah. Oh, me. Yeah, me. I'm totally. I'm not even hiding that. You know, as like a borderline dyslexic, do you know how hard it is to be like in YouTube and like podcasting? Because I'll listen back to episodes. I'm like, what did I just say? That makes zero sense. But it didn't sound that way in my head. Like Scoop is absolutely like like he has no idea how my mind works. I don't even know how my mind works. It just works. But like it is a struggle because I could listen back to this and so many things I said in my mind come back jumbled. So yeah, it's my fault. Blame it on me. I bombarded your open, but you guys were gracious hosts.
I got my book so I can write down all my scripts when I re-listen to it tomorrow. So yeah, I'm ready.
Listen, Skinny Toast is a much better producer than Big Toast. So.
Well, dude, hey, so Roman joined us from the jump, right? He joined us right from the opening, so I think he should stay for this final closing. So, Kaniak, you want to? All right. So, stat of the week, we brought him up 2 or 3 times already in the show. So, I'm going to throw this to Roman to close the show today. So, our stat of the week has to do with Leonard Taylor, number 1 DT in the nation. He was the number 10 overall player, just arrived on campus 48 hours ago. Last season, in 7 high school football games, dude had 51 tackles, 23 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception. In 7 football games. So, Ro, give me a number. How many plays you think he gets in against Alabama? The biggest freak at DT since maybe Gerald Willis, maybe before that. What do we think?
The number just popped in my 27.
27
like
snaps.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
27
I love
snaps.
it. I love it. I'm not going to argue with that, man. I mean,
Nope.
You throw Nesta and Jared Harrison Hunt, and you get Miller a little action. You throw John Ford in there, dude. We got to see some Leonard Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the number one defensive tackle in the country. You got to find ways if they're healthy. You got to find ways to get those guys on the field. They can be difference makers. I mean, the whole world wanted those kids.
Yeah.
So you got to find if the whole world wanted them. There's a reason. So you need to go ahead and make that happen. Those guys have the potential to be monsters, and I'm here for it. Bring me all the popcorn. I'm here to watch, and I'll follow them and I'll break it down.
There it is.
Hey,
there it is.
Last question. Are you going to be, I mean, I know this is kind of far out. Do you think you'll be at the Michigan State game?
It's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because last year it got COVID shut down to Michigan State, and the whole Big Ten was like, "Oh no, don't come up here, you guys from Miami. Your governor's crazy." I think so. Yeah, I have season tickets.
Okay.
So I'm definitely planning on it. So that'll be a Saturday game. So yeah.
Who's tell me, Kaniacs. I know Loans.
We're sitting
Bob,
next to Loans.
and Mike too. We're all sitting next to.
Oh,
each
Loans
other.
is just sitting next to me. Loans loves telling stories.
Oh, well, then there you go. Then right there.
Loans loves telling stories. He takes pictures of me and puts them on T-shirts. Yeah, no, I got my season tickets. Yeah, that's me screaming. By the way, my wife heard me say that and looking over my shoulder. Yeah, no, I plan on going to a lot of games. Like I said, I renewed the season tickets again this year. They're already bought and paid for. I don't think Toast did it. No, I don't think so. But I definitely did. I've had them for a long time. So we'll see. Now, the only catch 22, man, the kids are getting at that age, man, where they're just playing something all the time. So it makes it tough, man.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do everything I can. But if I know all you guys are going down there, I'm gonna try to make some special concessions to head down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honest.
And hey, it's okay about
Toast.
Toast. It's okay about Toast because we got Skinny Toast anyway. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
We got Skinny Toast. We got Skinny Toast.
Well,
Well,
when
hey,
he
guys,
look at him when he smiles. Look at his cheeks. It's like Skinny Toast,
it
man.
is Skinny Toast. It is Skinny.
Oh man.
Hey, at least I'm not dressing up in a Noid outfit. I'm just telling you that. Right?
Yeah. Well, he said it. He proved it.
There we
He
go.
did.
Hey, be careful. He's supposed to come on too.
Yeah, it's supposed to
Yeah,
come on,
he'll
man.
still come on. Oh, and there's a lot of noise shit getting ready to go on. But anyways, let's go ahead and end it like this.
Let's
Guys,
do it.
please subscribe to us on YouTube for our visuals, and also we're on all your major podcasts, Apple, iTunes, all of them. So just make sure you subscribe there. And then, as always, it's all about the Canes. Go you.
It's all about the U, baby.